Hello, my name is Chris and I'm a U-Haul hitch professional. If you're planning on towing a trailer with the stealth hitch on your Audi Q8, then you're going to need the towing combo kit that comes with trailer wiring. It is required by the law. Now let me show you how to complete the install. You will need the following tools and supplies to complete this installation. We're going to begin the installation in the cargo area. We're going to use a T30 Torx bit to remove 4 cargo hooks. Each cargo hook has 2 screws. Remove this trunk pan. You can now pull up on your rear threshold. We need to remove a T25 Torx bit screw from behind the seat handle. You can now repeat for the passenger side screw. We are now ready to dislodge our trim panels. Gently pull away. Be careful, there are electrical connectors behind some models. Check to verify that if you do, remove the electrical connector. The button is underneath, so you have to feel for it. It's very small. Repeat for the driver's side trim. You can see the wires here that run to the driver's side tail light. These are what we're going to need to test. The passenger side wires may be a little harder for you to decipher as they're a part of a bundle and they disappear very quickly. But you can see this small little yellow and brown and purple with some sort of stripe bundle. These are your tail light wires. So we're going to open these up and we're going to test and find the signal. So while the directions do specify to test with the door down, we went ahead and did that. But for your sake, I also have lifted the door and we have confirmed the functionalities did not change. So this will be an easier test for you at home knowing it will not change with the door up. We're now ready to install the Q8's wire harness. It is going to come with a 7-way package. It's going to include a reverse wire and a brake wire for a brake controller that we're not installing today, as well as the red wire for a separate stop signal the Q8 does not have, so it will not be used. We're going to go ahead and do our white ground, our green to the passenger, yellow to the driver, and brown to the driver. On the passenger side, we're going to hide our converter box by using the double-sided sticky tape, as well as we're going to affix to the ground with our white wire here, and the wires that go out to the 7-way as well as the power wire are going to pass out through a grommet that are in this dark recess that's hard to see, but when you reach in and feel it, you'll feel the grommet. As well as when we go underneath, we'll show it to you from underneath. Because the ground screw is near where I'm going to affix the converter box, I'm going to go ahead and remove some of all this ground wire that they have included. You're only going to need a few inches. Strip the end of your wire and affix a ring terminal. You can now remove the ground nut with a 10mm socket. You're now ready to use the clamp-on connector to affix the passenger side green wire. We're going to go ahead and trim it up because they've provided a little bit more than we need. Now insert the wire you identified as your right turn signal. So I reached in with the clamp-on connector. We clamped on our identified passenger side turn signal, and I pinched them down as good as I could with my fingers to hold them. And now we're going to use some pliers to finish the job. Now repeat on the other side. We're now ready to get the wires out from underneath the passenger side of the vehicle. We're going to remove a few underbody T20 Torx screws from under here. There's several under here. Remove 3 to 5, however many you need to access to get the power wire forward and your 7-way wires up to the hitch, as well as we're going to remove a couple back here in the wheel well. We'll show you all those. You can now pull your wires through this previously discussed grommet, and then we will slit the grommet and pass the wires through. Now that you've pulled all the wires through, you can reinstall the grommet. We can now bring our 7-way wires from behind the tire to up near the hitch. We're now ready to begin assembling the 7-way connector. First, we're going to release a couple screws. Take the interior piece out so we can connect the wires. You can also release the set screw just a little bit, but do not remove it. Do make sure to pass the wires through the 7-way connection box before affixing. You can now strip the insulation from the end of each of the 7 wires. We are now ready to begin making the wire connections. We'd like to point out what's called the slot keyway. This is the very, very bottom. The markings on this receptacle may not match the configuration, so please disregard. We're going to show you where to put these wires. You're now ready to insert the receptacle, lining up the slot keyway with the tab inside. We're now going to affix the 7-way connector to some brackets. The first 7-way bracket will have a slot in it for you to get the wires through. Plate is going to go to the driver's side of the vehicle, and the door is going to open to the front of the vehicle, and it will affix to Stealth C bracket, and then will install on the inside. We can now affix the 7-way bracket to the C bracket past the bolt this direction, because we need clearance for the latch block. The bracket is adjustable. We'll start about in the midway position and make sure it fits. If it doesn't fit, we can always loosen and readjust, so it will. Use an 8mm wrench to help you tighten them down. We're now ready to get the power wire from the converter box, connect the provided length of wire, and route it to the frunk so we can connect to the fuse panel. We prefer to use a heat shrink butt connector. You can now route the power wire to the frunk by hiding it in the trim panels. There's some additional T20 Torx fasteners underneath behind the passenger front tire. You're going to need to release some of these to release the trim. There's also one 10mm plastic nut. All right, we're now ready to begin putting the fuse wire onto the power distribution panel, as well as removing this trim liner so we can fish wire our pull down and bring that wire back up. I'm going to use a 13mm socket to remove this nut. Can now remove this piece of trim. You can now open up your trim area and bring the wire up to the fuse panel. You can now trim your wire to length. You can now insert the provided fuse. You can now hide your wires and affix them with zip ties. Now reinstall the trim. We're now going to push the trim liners back into the wheel well. Now reinstall all the previously removed fasteners. For those of you who previously installed and need to remove the latch block, we're going to use two 15/16 sockets. We're going to remove the latch block so that we can install the wire harness. We're going to now remove the 2 bolts holding the latch block in place and then put it all back together with the bracket on the bolts. We must now install the safety chain hooks for towing. They're a bit odd of a shape here, but you get them on and spin them. We're going to line them up and make sure that they curve backwards. But we must now insert this with the bracket and our bolts. You can now torque the hardware to the manufacturer's specifications, which we will link in the description below. The Stealth Hitches towing combo kit will include this 7-way to 4-flat adapter. We're going to go ahead and insert it in here. We're going to test our wires. Headlights, left turn, and right turn. We're now ready to return to the cargo area of the vehicle, where we'll use some electrical tape to secure our clamp-on connectors, as well as some zip ties to zip tie the wires, clean everything up, and return all the interior trim back to where it goes. Reconnect the 12-volt power source connection. That concludes installing the wiring harness on your Audi Q8. You are now ready to tow trailers with your Stealth hitch. Thanks for watching. We'll see you out there. If you have any questions about the products seen in this video, or if you'd like to schedule an installation with your local U-Haul hitch professional, please visit us online at uhaulhitches.com.